Hello and welcome to the Sunday League podcast presented by Small World Media, your home for all things MLB and Fantasy Baseball. We're going to get started off. Kale's got some business to tend to, so I'm just going to pass it off to him.
Yeah, so like I said, like we said in the first two, we're friends.
100%.
In this
Best friends.
Yeah, never again. James Peeler blocked my phone. At least until the deadline. I'll do some praying and figure out my life after that. But Casey, I'm gonna let you explain because I don't know if I can keep it PG. I don't know if I can keep it PG. And Casey's the commissioner, and it happened to him, so we're brothers and we're brothers in bond. Hey. Yeah, to wherever Thomas is, I think he's above me. Wherever this guy was a scumbag last year, so
it's not his fault. Whatever.
So take it away, Case.
So what happened is last year it kind of started with at the end of the home run derby last year. I dropped Kyle Schwarber and picked up Albert Pujols because I made a bet saying if Albert Pujols wins, I'll pick him up and everything like that. So, man of my word, I did. When I did...
Man of your word.
When I did, I also had a trade going on with Thomas. Like, the trade had already been accepted by Thomas and everything like that.
Hadn't processed yet, though.
Hadn't processed yet. Still had a day to process.
So I
shook hands, agreed on the trade.
Yeah, but it was still processing. Keyword processing.
Yeah. So is your brain cells in your freaking.
Just continue.
Puberty.
Continue.
Wait, we're still friends with you.
So, anyways, because I picked up somebody, it put my roster over the limit once the trade processed. So, because of that, the trade did not process. Thomas, obviously, I went back to him and said, hey, dude, look, I picked up this guy, trade didn't process, send me back the trade. Didn't hear from the guy for about a week. Come to find out, he made a trade with the same guys I was going to acquire with this scumbag below me, James.
I'm above you.
There's a theme here.
Yes, there is a theme here. With the same guys that I was going to acquire, saying, no, I thought about it. The trade, I was going to lose the trade. I thought I was going to get a better trade now with James because that one didn't process. That's not...
It didn't process.
That's not right because the trade was accepted and all that kind of stuff. So, anyways, fast forward to this year.
And I can tell mine because mine's 10 times worse and I can't keep cutting more.
It is literally the same.
Okay. Apparently, Yahoo's, has a third grade reading level. Doesn't tell us what to do. Doesn't give us any rules. I didn't know that I only had, because how many is it? 26 players?
25.
Or 25?
Yeah, you get 25.
I didn't know that I had 24 players on my roster.
No, you had 26.
And when I go to pick up a streamer at 3:07 a.m., because I'm a dog.
God, the light work.
Freaking, it just tells me, it says, hey, free ad. You're perfect. You're perfectly fine. But before that, me and James, right after last week's podcast, make a trade, and he sends me the trade. So clearly, I didn't think about it. I accept it immediately. Mm-hmm. Oh, and these two guys,
trying to help you out.
Thomas, what are you doing? What are you thinking? Blah, 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 blah. James said, turn into a stray dog, and just tail tucked. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't mean to put. Yeah, okay. The only reason you change your mind is because someone said you were wrong. Fast forward, I pick up a player, and so I have 25 players.
No,
and I'm getting one extra player from James. Hey, gosh, God, why do we have to sign with a Christian company? I pick up the 25th, and I'm picking up an extra player from James in the trade. It doesn't go through.
Mm-hmm.
And I wake up to a text message. Kale, all caps, ... you blanked up. Ha, ha, ha. And like I said, I was up at 3:07, so I'm clearly not awake at 8 o'clock. I wake up to probably 80 text messages.
Oh, it had to be.
Of one honorable man.
Oh, my goodness.
And Casey Moore. having my back.
Yeah, 'cause he's the commissioner.
And these two pieces of crap.
Okay, keep going.
First of all, I wasn't that bad. I was like, okay, fine, James. Then I start reading Thomas's. Oh, it's not James's fault. Yeah.
It's not.
I mean,
Okay,
he's
hang on.
just, he's
I'll
just
speak.
sucking James off.
Wait.
No, you're not speaking. No.
Yes, I am. 100%.
And so the trade doesn't go through. James goes, literally, I took a screenshot because Casey was like, dude, send him the trade back. You agreed. He said, not after y'all's reaction. Word for word, verbatim.
Okay.
And now I lose out on a trade that I like my team, but I like Austin Riley more. I was getting Austin Riley, Luis Castillo, and Carlos Rodon for Rafael Devers, who's a better third baseman fantasy-wise.
Not fantasy-wise.
At third base. And Joe Musgrove, who is an animal. So it's a fair trade. Luis Castillo plays for the Mariners. He's not going to get many points. Like, he's not going to get any wins. It's a fair trade. And so I blocked James right then and there.
He did.
And again, our friendship, I told him, I said, take me out of your wedding. We are no longer friends. And I'm so close to sticking with that because I gave him a trade deadline 2 p.m. today, and he still doesn't make his trade. So, yeah. So this podcast might not last another week.
Oh, yes, it will.
So like, comment, and subscribe before you don't get a chance.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, like, comment, and subscribe. Whose side are you on? And
Well,
if you say you're on James' side, I'm blocking you as well.
You don't have their number.
And you're no longer allowed to watch this podcast because you're a piece of crap as well.
That's not even. All right, so now
James,
my side of the story.
Anyways,
On my side, okay. So,
Yeah,
yes,
sure,
we
go
had a trade go through. It was accepted. And on my end, I didn't think it was a fair trade. I was thinking of something else. Beside the point, but... All right, back to it. Where was I?
You didn't think it was a fair
Right.
trade, but
Right.
yet you sent it.
So I was
But
thinking of
yet
something
you
else.
sent
So
it.
yeah, that's right. I sent it.
Oh,
You looked at it,
'cause we know
accepted it.
you're a huge thinker.
So exactly. So you accepted. I was like, dang. All right, I'll eat the bullet. I'll find another way to get something else. So you accepted it. Come Monday, by the way, still processing, and I have an analogy at the end for you guys to relate to it. Don't speak.
If I would have waited 4 more hours, the trade would have gone through.
Well, then you shouldn't have woke up.
That's my new thing. I'm never doing my laptop again.
All right, back to it. So,
I'm out.
So the trade was processing, which I was like, okay, fine, I'll bite the bullet, whatever. I'll lose that trade, but I got other pitchers back me up. So come Monday, I wake up thinking I was going to pick someone else because I was giving him an extra player. And I look back, and he has 26 players on his lineup. So the trade falls through again. Not
So I
my
have
fault.
26
Hang
players
on,
on the
not
trade
my
that went
fault. Kale went out of his way to grab a player to push his team to 26 players. And I believe you activated Yordan Alvarez on Monday. Because I went back and looked at it when you were sleeping. So,
No, I did
since it was
Sunday.
still processing, and if the trade would have went through, you would have had 26 players, and that's why it fell through. Again, not on me. God was just blessing me. So, my analogy to go off before we start
We know
the
that's not true.
podcast,
Do not
Was-
bring
Hang on.
God into
Yeah,
this.
don't bring to the Lord into this because you were
the
far from
Lord,
the Lord.
whatever. So, my analogy is Carlos Correa. Carlos Correa signs a huge deal from the Twins to the Mets. Max contract. Has a physical. It was accepted. It was processing. Oh,
It
my
was never
ankle,
accepted.
and it never went through.
It's
so
his
he went
knee,
back to
idiot.
Minnesota.
His knee didn't connect to his
What?
bottom of his leg.
Not my fault. That's why it didn't go through. That's why it's still with the Twins.
No, that analogy, the teams, the Mets and the Giants, never accepted that deal. They never accepted that deal.
That
No.
There was a max contract.
they were accepted just
instead.
pending physical and
Exactly.
Carlos Correa accepted the
Because it
deal
couldn't have
because
been
he knew he was
accepted.
a scumbag as well.
It was a pending transaction, which is the same as ours. It didn't go through because, like Kale said, my knee. And he went back to Minnesota.
It's my foot.
Plain and simple. Now we can start the pod. Let's talk about this trade deadline.
All right, here you go. Anyways,
I'm not joking. I'm not joking when I say if you agree with James, then you can
Dude, I'm just spitting
some
facts.
terrible
That's
things.
it.
You can
Fact.
go listen to John Boy.
fact. Yeah,
I
go
agree
listen-
with
go
James.
listen to freaking
Anyways,
Boots
so let's
Jets.
go ahead and
You
get
want more fun
started.
than the Sunday League.
So let's hop into MLB. Let's hop into the trades. Casey had the big call last week with the Robertson trade to Miami, so I'll pass it off to him.
Hands up, baby.
Let him give his insight. Apparently, he's a wizard, knows everything that's going to happen. So,
Hey.
Casey, what you got?
Okay. Casey, I'm going to give you your flowers, but it's just bullcrap that all my predictions were mock trades. Y'all are just completely and utterly against me, and I'm sick of it. This is cyberbullying. I'm trying to sign for my freaking laptop. Just shut up.
Anyways,
So Robertson to the
what we got,
Marlins, baby.
yeah, Robertson to the Marlins. So honestly, before the pod, I really didn't dive too deep into the Mets bullpen as far as like who could be traded and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, felt like the Mets would be having to sell, possibly a fire sale as we're seeing now. But just the more I looked into it, obviously Robertson is having a pretty good year. They also have Ottavino over there, and then with Edwin Diaz down this year, they were kind of just going back and forth, jumbling the bullpen and everything like that. Obviously, the Marlins. When I looked at the Marlins, obviously they've been winning a lot of one-run games this year, but it's because their bullpen has really been blowing it, and they've been coming back in the late innings, possibly walking teams off, all that kind of stuff, to make it look like they're having a better record than what most would say with a one run lead.
Expected.
Yeah, expected. Thank you.
Exactly.
With a 1-run lead and all that kind of stuff.
Shut up, James.
So, anyways, the Marlins, when you looked at their roster and stuff like that, and especially their back of their bullpen, they had two big lefties. They had AJ Puck and Tanner Scott. AJ Puck, was pretty good at the beginning of the year. He looked like a pretty solidified closer, with Tanner Scott being a good 8th, possibly 9th inning guy. And I just felt like a right-hander, with a veteran experience, obviously, would just fit really good in that bullpen. And obviously we can see today already picking up one save with the team. He's going to fit pretty well. Looking forward to seeing what they're going to the dynamic of, especially after they picked up Jorge Lopez as well.
I'm sweating.
What they're going to do with both of them. But I think adding both of those pieces, especially the Robertson, with the veteran experience and all that kind of stuff, to really solidify that bullpen was pretty big. So.
For those just listening, Kale's recording today on his phone, and it keeps falling over. That's why I keep laughing.
Yep.
Everybody have fun at Kale's expense.
Oh.
I'm fighting for my life. You're killing me with this. We don't endorse R. Kelly. Okay?
Oh, my goodness. Oh.
They just typed 75 times. Listen, I'm going to be real with y'all, okay? Technical difficulties. I just bought an $800 laptop for next week. I promise I'll be better.
Oh. Here we go.
My dogs are barking because they think there's intruders in the house. It's just me, you idiot. All right, sorry. Take it away, Thomas.
Oh. Anyways, good call on that, Casey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was.
Obviously, the Marlins also pick up Jorge Lopez from the Twins to address their bullpen issues and some blown saves. What you got, Kale?
I just want to ask, because I was thinking about it. So what do we think the roles are now? Do we think, because like I said in last week, I don't agree with having your best arm as the high leverage guy.
Mm-hmm.
But do we think they're going to use Jorge Lopez and Tanner Scott as that, and Puck as setup, and then David Robertson as the closer?
I would say so.
I think they'll move.
I would think so too.
I think they'll move Puck to the 7th. If anything, they may move him down for a week or something just to figure his stuff out. But with
Get a
the
haircut.
combination, with the combination of Lopez, Tanner Scott, and I think David Robinson is the closer as of right now. And then the trade-off between Scott and Lopez with that righty-lefty in that 8th inning, I think that could be dynamic. And then if anything, have him go in the 7th. And then AJ Puck, hopefully he finds his groove, comes back. Because with Because we were struggling in the front. Now with the addition of those two, I think our bullpen's a lot better.
Yeah, I
So
think
you
that
think
definitely.
you just? Oh, sorry.
No, you got it.
Oh, I was gonna say. So you'd rather have Tanner Scott than AJ Puck? For the record, I haven't watched the Marlins in a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But like I just watched the highlights. But I know AJ Puck is. I mean, he's always got really good stuff and has a good arm, and he's looks like a scarecrow out there. He's so tall and lanky.
The thing with Puck is lately he has not been in command of his stuff. Yeah, he's got good stuff, but he'll fall down in the count 2-0, 3-1 to where he's got to throw a changeup middle in or try to run a fastball high by him.
Yeah,
and they're just home runs. Like his past, I think 3 or 4 has been atrocious. Even when he got a save, I think a couple days ago, it was bad. So with the combination of the Lopez and Robertson, it's definitely increased our bullpen. It'll help a lot. Good call, Case.
Yeah, I think.
I texted him that before, so he can know it.
Anyways, yeah. So Marlins looking to make a big splash. I think they probably are going to add another bat at least before the deadline.
1 or 2 at least.
But speaking of other teams making big splashes, the Dodgers have gone out and gotten 4 guys. They got Ahmed Rosario and Kike Hernandez, 2 shortstops that aren't super great defensively, and then they get Lance Lynn, who has the highest ERA among qualified starters. So 3 questionable moves there, and then Joe Kelly, who is a fan favorite. Everybody loves him in LA, and he's had a pretty solid year. So are the Dodgers going to do Dodger magic, or are they just going to figure it out? I don't know. See what you guys were thinking on that.
I think Lance Lynn definitely had a terrible start to his what are you going to call it, his season, but I think kind of figured out he was trying I know he started off the year with that sweeper, whatever that pitch is, and I think he figured it out
on his last start.
Yeah, his last start was rough.
Yeah, we went over this last week. He played for the south side of Chicago.
I think with the addition of, I think, Joe Kelly and Kiki, it's like they were bringing them back home, back to LA, bringing them back to when they were actually pretty solid. And then the combination of Lance Lynn and then Rosario, I don't know why they added Rosario. Maybe because Miggy Rowe isn't what they thought he was going to be. But I mean, Lance Lynn, if he gets some run support, that could be dynamic. Because I think one game this year he threw 16 Ks. So if Lance Lynn's on with some run support, I don't see why that's not a bad pickup.
I think.
Real quick, can y'all hear me?
Yep, we're good.
Okay.
I think the Kike trade makes sense to me. Obviously, clubhouse morale, and he can play obviously more than one position. The Ahmed Rosario one is the one that's kind of questionable to me. I think Miggy Rowe is still the go-to guy. Is still the main shortstop, all that kind of stuff for the team. I was watching Chris Rose and Trevor Plouffe the other day, and they were talking about this trade as well. And possibly, Ahmed Rosario and Kike are both really, really good at hitting lefties. So the Dodgers are possibly thinking about ways to not put James Outman out there in the outfield with a lefty, pitcher and stuff, trying to move Mookie back out there to right field as much as possible. So I think with these 2 trades, Kike, he can play second base, he can play shortstop, he can play outfield, all these kinds of things. So they might have really needed that other utility guy because Chris Taylor has really kind of solidified himself out in the outfield this year. So maybe just adding another guy like Kike, to just kind of bounce around with. I mean, because with David Roberts, or Dave Roberts, I'm sorry. I was thinking David Robertson. But Dave Roberts, he really likes to mix and match his lineups and all that kind of stuff. So I think the Dodgers, they'll pull out some Dodger magic, and I think, like you said, James, the Dodgers are going to give Lynn a little bit more run support. And honestly, when watching the White Sox team, I think the guys really just didn't have any effort. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the clubhouse. I don't know if it's GMs. I don't know what it is about that team, but like over the past few years, they just haven't gotten anything going, and like the team's ego is just very weird. The morale is very down around South Side and stuff, which I mean I can't really blame them, but I mean it's just so maybe new faces in new places, turn something around with these guys that we expect a lot from. So we'll see.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like the fact that the Dodgers went out and got former guys with Kelly and Kike. I think that's going to be a huge thing. One for fans, but two for the morale and clubhouse. Especially with Kelly. I mean, Kelly's just one of those guys who, like, you know what you're going to get out of him. Like, he's going to give you solid innings, but he's also going to be, like, a bulldog on the field. And he's one of those guys where if something else happens on the field, Joe Kelly's the first out of the dugout. So I think it's a good thing to have a guy like that in the dugout to be a part of the team. But I don't think the Dodgers are done. I think they're still going to make another big splash, especially because they made these deals a week out from the deadline. I think they might be in the running for Scherzer, or not Scherzer because he's to Texas, but maybe Hader or Snell or Verlander. But I definitely don't think the Dodgers are done. So, yeah.
I honestly don't think the Padres do anything.
You don't think the Padres sell or buy?
I mean, after looking at all their medias and stuff like that, I don't think they know what they're going to do come the trade deadline. But with the sweep of the Rangers right here, and with them finding themselves now, even with that lineup, I see them buying and making a run for it.
Well, I kind of want to bring up a question, and I think this kind of leads right into it and stuff, James. I feel like we're really seeing that a lot this year with a lot of GMs. They're kind of waiting till the last minute to kind of decide, are they going to be buyers or sellers. I think what has to do with that is, one, I think the new schedule with not playing a lot in your division. I think playing everybody and stuff is making teams become more even. They're not like really blowing teams out. They're not really getting up on one certain team and stuff in the division. They're having to spread out their wins across the whole division or whole league, I should say. And then also with the new playoff format, obviously more teams are now making it to the playoffs as well. So I think a lot of these things that I would hate to be in a GM seat right now, especially for the Angels, for the Mariners, for the Padres, all that kind of stuff, having to make this last minute decision of 1 week, we're hot and we're gonna go for it, or then next week, we get cold again, and then are we selling again? So I think it's a really tough time, for certain GMs. But yeah, I want to hear y'all's thoughts on why do y'all think it's kind of like that this year.
Well, I think as far as like the moves going like before the trade deadline, a lot of teams are trying to get their needs earlier. Where I think we'll see the splash, because the biggest one is I think Scherzer to Texas, but like the splashy moves will come like the day before and the day of the trade deadline. Whereas prior to the in the time now, they're trying to address the needs.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I'll piggyback. I think go for it, Thomas.
Good. No, you got it, James. Go ahead.
All right. Well,
Shut up, James.
Piggyback on Casey. I think I agree with the switch of divisions. I feel like it makes it more fair. But looking at the standings, like a lot of teams, I think they're waiting until close to the deadline because I know they got more games coming up to it. And the wild cards are still wide open. I mean, you got Boston, who's only 2.5 games out. Yankees are only 3. Angels are only 4. Seattle's only 4.5. You go to the NL. Miami just snuck in. The Phillies right behind them in a half a game. Arizona's 1 game out. The Cubs are surprisingly 3.5 games. San Diego's 5. So a lot of things has changed, and there's a lot of close quarters. So I think all those teams I just named, they're going to be buyers, or if anything, add in a couple more pieces to push them into the wild card. And especially the Cubs.
Speaking of the Cubs, what are the Cubs going to do?
Cubs will
Well,
buy
they're not trading Bellinger. They came out today.
That's for sure.
That's
So
crazy.
I think they're probably going to buy a couple more pieces and see what happens.
A couple more bats.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyways, to jump
Maybe
into
sorry to cut you off, but hot take. Maybe we see Paul Goldschmidt go to Chicago.
Ooh,
north side.
same division.
ooh,
I'd rather him
I
go
don't
to
know
the
if they-
Cubs
Division
than the
rivalry?
Marlins now.
I don't know if they make that big of a splash, but
I just don't
we'll
think
see.
the Cardinals.
I don't know.
I think the Cardinals will buy. Now they're 10.
Cardinals
I think
are
they'll
gonna
wild
buy?
card. No, they said they were going to.
Cardinals.
This is the same guy that said Christian Walker was going to get
No.
traded. So
Not
The
buy.
St.
But they
Louis
weren't.
Cardinals
They
are
weren't
going to
gonna
buy.
sell. No, I take it back. They weren't gonna sell anybody. They were gonna add a couple
you
pieces.
do that a lot.
Well, eat my words. Okay, you're just mad
Take it
that
back.
you're in 5th place in fantasy.
4th place, you idiot. Check out the freaking
I'm
standings.
counting on Monday.
You're about to be 5th place.
Week.
Mm-mm.
I'm talking.
Didn't
to
you
the
just lose this
future.
week?
Nope.
Yeah, you did. Chances dropped 200 on Sunday.
Anyways, jumping in.
Get me
I
off this
think-
podcast. This thing is stupid.
I think with the teams like the Cubs or like really I want to focus in on like the Padres and the Angels.
Mhm.
I think the Padres are just so invested in how much money they've put into their team that being this close, they don't want to just give it all away. I think it was different for the Mets because they were however many games back and clearly nothing was turning around for them. So I think that's why the Mets have decided to sell rather than go for it. But I think that's why the Padres are holding out of like, okay, we've got so much money in this team, we can't just give up unless we're absolutely no shot going to make it. So that's why I would guess that at least with the Padres are doing that.
And
And
even
with the Cubs, I mean, the Cubs being 3 games out is
Yeah.
not something to be super
8-2
worried
in the
about.
last
So
10.
And I think with the Padres and stuff, I don't think like you mentioned, Thomas, that they'll have like a fire sale, right? Even if they do
Right.
decide to have a sell, I think it would be Snell and Hader and maybe one other guy, So I
Soto.
think
I could see Soto
they
going.
can wait till probably the last day and still flip a Hader or a Snell to teams, because I'm sure teams are possibly holding out for it, of just saying, you know what, on the last day, hey, I'm gonna call you on the last day if you're not to this point yet. Here's the trade that I'm going to send you, yes or no, and stuff like that. So I think they might already have trades already lined up in case it doesn't plan out for them. So I don't think they're really maybe in that rush. Again, I don't think we've obviously never been in a real GMC other than our fantasy teams, but
Speak for yourself, buddy.
Yeah,
but yeah,
my franchise mode on the show.
4 straight.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We're recording this on Sunday night. The deadline's on Tuesday, so we may have to do an emergency podcast later this week to see what happens. But
you are committed.
I mean, I think
I'm
at this point we really just don't know like where these teams are at. I mean, obviously the Cubs came out today and said they're not moving Bellinger. The Cardinals, for some reason, said they don't want to move their big pieces, which I'm assuming that means Goldschmidt and Arenado. But I've also heard rumors of Arenado to the Dodgers. Don't know if that's has any validity to it. But I think the Cardinals should sell. But I think what they're thinking is their division has been historically so weak that they can trade a couple, like 1 or 2 guys like Montgomery, get a couple prospects, and be right back in the running next year and not have to worry about it.
Absolutely.
So that's where I get the Cardinals not selling as much, but I do think they could get more returns for the future if they did. But I don't understand the White Sox hanging on to Cease or Anderson. At least thus far, as we're recording this, they
TA.
haven't done anything with those guys. So
TA's gone.
Yeah, TA's gone.
yeah, but he hasn't been yet. So I'm just wondering, waiting out to see where he goes. But
Until the day of.
anyways, but I respect a lot the Angels coming out saying we're not trading Shohei, and then immediately going out and getting Giolito and Lopez from said White Sox. I respect it a lot because I think it shows their commitment that they do actually want to win, which they haven't shown the last 6 years of Ohtani's contract. And then they're going out and getting really solid guys to build around Ohtani for the rest of the year, and they're getting some of their bigger guys back from injury in Trout and Neto, guys that are actually going to hit. I do think they need to make a couple more moves, but I wanted to just kind of hop into that trade, see if you guys had any thoughts on it or anything like that.
I'll be honest with you, I missed all that.
About the Angels trade?
Great.
I agree. I think I just don't think, like, when you trade a guy like Shohei 95% of the time that's an off-season trade.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's so hard to trade a guy like that during the season.
Do you think they pay Shohei at the end in the offseason?
I think they got to try.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on what the Yankees and the Dodgers always
And
they
what
set the
Shohei
bar.
wants, what he prefers.
Yeah.
So, because I do think he's definitely a guy of comfortability.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I feel like
I don't think he wants the Yankees because when he was coming over to Japan, it was basically like all West Coast teams.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah,
he sounds, or he feels like a kind of guy that wants to win where he was picked up. So I just don't know, like you said, Kale, like if he gets more money somewhere else, he may go there, even with a short porch in New York, or more money in LA with a better fan base. But I just don't see the Angels paying Shohei, especially with Trout's contract. But I guess they got to try, but I just don't think they have the money or firepower to keep Shohei in the offseason.
well, and because Artie Moreno's selling the team allegedly. So,
allegedly. Yeah, I don't really know. I mean, I respect it a lot because they did say if we're in a playoff hunt, we're keeping Shohei, and that's where they are, and that's what they've done. So, I respect them sticking with it. I kind of wanted to see. I was on the trade Shohei train, so I was kind of hoping to see something crazy happen and see what would come, but.
you're also on
James'
side of the trade, but
you shouldn't have picked up an extra guy. Anyways, but yeah, jumping into the next trades, the Braves go and pick up Taylor Hearn and Pierce Johnson from the Rockies and the Rangers, I believe, to add bullpen depth. Nothing crazy because then they turn right back around today and trade Taylor Hearn for Nicky Lopez from the Royals.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, as a Braves fan, I don't understand trading Hearn because he's not. I mean, he's our only lefty in the pen at the moment with Minter being down, so that doesn't make sense. And we also have the best infield in the league, so I guess it's just a bench bat. But I did see something on Twitter that says, with that, we could see top prospects in Vaughn Grissom and Braden Shoemake being on the block to make a move. That's my holding out hope. I do think it should have been Pierce Johnson getting traded away rather than Hearn, just to have a lefty in the pen, but that's neither here nor there. So, Kale, you raising your hand?
Yeah, I like I said, I watch the Braves a lot, and this genuinely hurts my soul to say. Ozzy Albies is on the verge of becoming a liability at second.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
Don't worry about it, James.
A liability, James. I
know it's a big word.
You cut out.
But like, because even today, Arcia against the Brewers, and again, it's like it's a long season, so I get, but he like kind of get armed the ball, and but maybe the Ozzy Albies, because like there's a lot of times I've seen multiple times where it's a hard of a play to make, but it's a play that Ozzy Albies has made his whole career, and then the ball just falls out of his glove, and he has to rush to first base. So I mean, he's still hitting bombs. Like I said, that genuinely hurts me because Ozzy Albies is my favorite player on the Braves. Has been ever since Freddie left. Acuna is probably how many players is on the roster? Probably 37th.
How can you say that, dude? He is MVP.
Yeah, I mean Hitler was a leader of a country. Like, what do you want from me? Like, I can't. Acuna is just a big baby, man.
Dude is MVP hands down. He can be the biggest.
Yeah, so was A-Rod back in the day.
It doesn't matter how good somebody is. It's
all right, then trade him then. Who cares?
I'm right there with Hey, I said the Braves should have traded him after he went down with the ACL injury a couple years ago. They could have
They should have
gotten
traded him.
Yeah.
Got literally retooled our entire farm system.
Yes.
Just give us the world and keep Freddie.
No way.
Instead, we got a guy who can barely catch at first base and strikes out every fourth at bat.
Yeah, doesn't have a Gold Glove or anything.
Not with the Braves.
Whatever. Doesn't lead the league in RBIs or anything. Whatever. Anyways,
I could
that's
get
Braves
you
moves.
60 RBIs in a season.
Yeah, I'd like to see it. Braves
Give me a
bolster the
chance,
bullpen.
somebody.
Houston goes out and gets Kendall Graveman from the White Sox to add bullpen depth for one of their top catcher prospects. I forget. I didn't write the name down, but that was another move. Nothing huge there. Santana goes to Milwaukee
That was.
from the Pirates.
I think that was nice.
So that's a decent rental there. Just a veteran switch hitter bat. Already hit a bomb today against the Braves. So I think that's a decent pickup for Milwaukee, especially to have a switch hitter in the lineup.
Where's Telez? Is he still in the IL? Rowdy?
Go and corral somewhere.
He's at a buffet.
So yes, IL. Because I haven't seen him in a minute.
Probably.
Like I would take Santana over.
He's on
Telez.
the BL buffet list.
Kim, you should join him.
Listen, what do you think? Look at me. Been joining us since third grade.
Oh my goodness. It's a little feisty today. Anyways,
Yeah, I hate you. I hate you all.
another trade is Chapman going to Texas, which I think was a huge pickup for them and a really good one. Especially with his kind of resurgence this year coming out of Kansas City, starting to figure it out, getting back to the Chapman of old that everyone kind of remembers, getting back up to like 103, 104. So,
my favorite moment, possibly in all of MLB history. Case, what was his name? Third baseman for y'all?
Longo?
No, God
Yandy?
no. The dude that he was with Milwaukee. He had a terrible swing.
Gomez?
Oh my gosh.
No, not Gomez.
Wow.
Whatever his name is.
Yeah, complete blank.
Chapman throws at his head and then stares him down like a punk. Then he goes, yeah. Golly, that was my favorite. I can't stand Ross Chapman. He's pitching in the 8th inning and he's staring the guy down. Like, for the record, like I've said 100 times, if I throw 103, I wouldn't be friends with any of you. So,
Yes, you would.
but
Say that.
definitely not you, James. I'd buy another friend.
No chance.
Mike Brasso.
Mike Brasso.
Mike Brasso, yes.
Yeah.
COVID year where y'all could have won a World Series, but
But instead
World Series.
instead we didn't bring up Wander that year and let Willie Adames strike out every single time he came up.
listen, the guy couldn't see. He was basically drugged.
He wasn't even playing in the Trop. He was in
Nobody was.
Arlington. So
Allegedly. COVID was just a fake year. Fake news.
It's not
Wrong.
Wrong. Mickey Mouse ring. Anyway, so we got a couple deals today. We got Montgomery going to Texas,
That's a good ad.
along with a reliever. I forget who it was. And then Hicks to Toronto. So if y'all want to hop in on those, we can run through them real quick.
Yeah, Hicks to Toronto is a big one, especially because Caveman is out.
Death
Jordan
Man.
Romano.
Get it right.
I don't even know what you said. I don't care.
Death Man is his name.
Like that's a big arm for them. If nothing else, just a setup guy for when Romano comes back or closer. I mean, yeah, I still think Romano's a closer, but
Oh yeah, hands down. I think that's, if anything, it's like a safety net because Romano's back has been.
I can't believe they haven't. Where's Nate Pearson? Is he in minors?
No,
they
he's
send him
been
down,
up
then he
there.
brought him back up.
yeah, he's been in a long relief. He's been struggling a little bit. He's
Typical Florida guy.
like, 6th, 7th guy. Hey, I still believe in the guy. I've always kind of wanted him to come back to Tampa. I thought that would be a nice little trade piece for us this year, at least. But I don't even see the Rays making a move, to be honest with you, at this point.
Well, so what can they give? Freaking churro?
We have a top 3 farm system. That's what we have.
Yeah, that y'all don't even care about.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't
Don't
even
even
wanna-
move any of them.
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
that's all
yeah.
they care about is
Yeah,
having a
that's
good
all
farm
we care
system.
about is a farm system.
Just having a
They're
future.
just a glorified 4A team.
It
Just
is,
being in
but-
contention
but,
every
I
year,
mean,
not doing anything.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of to the point of like the Otani trade. If we want to go back to that for just a sec, of why trade Otani if you're going to get a bunch of these prospects? Yes, they're high level prospects and everything like that from anybody, I guess you can say. But what justifies make a trade to me that says I'll give up Otani, but you give me all these prospects that have never even seen a pitch in the majors? I mean, that is a really risky. I mean, it's a risk for them to go for it, obviously, but it's even also you can even say maybe even more of a risk for them to hold on or for them to trade Otani and get all these prospects that we don't even know if they panned out or anything like that. I mean, Joe Adele. Say they got Joe Adele in that trade, or they sent Joe Adele and stuff, I don't know, but that's just my 2 cents on prospects. It's hard thing with prospects. And I think that's what puts baseball apart from every other sport.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a business.
At the top.
Yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying, but the reason I was on the trade Shohei train was if he doesn't sign back with the Angels at the end of the year,
Then you get nothing.
then you get nothing out of
Yeah.
it.
Draft
so it's
pick.
like barely.
That's true.
But I don't know. That was my take and my reasoning. But I mean, if they're going to go for it, I'm glad they're going for it.
Mm-hmm.
I respect, like I said, I respected 100% them actually adding and going for it. But yeah, I mean, you do make a good point. Like prospects, you don't know how they're going to turn out, and you never know until they get there.
I mean, what was that center fielder for y'all that was like a top prospect that y'all ended up trading to the A's and stuff?
Christian Pache.
Yeah,
Pache.
Pache. I mean, there was
trash.
so much hype around him, right?
He was trash.
And I mean, I don't even think he's on the team anymore.
He got DFA'd by them, and then I think the Phillies picked him up for a little bit, and I think they DFA'd him as well. So he's probably playing for the Shanghai Sharks or something by now. But yeah, prospects are hit or miss. So unless they're absolute studs and know what they're doing,
Never know.
you're probably not going to get that much out of them. But I do think that the requested amount for Shohei was 2 MLB talents and at least 2 prospects.
It was a lot.
So, but I think that's why a lot of teams weren't making trade offers at least, and then that's why they ended up not trading him. So, anyways, so jumping back in, Jordan Montgomery goes to Texas along with a reliever. Texas's rotation now is something a little bit to worry about. We've lost James.
That was on me. I told him he wasn't on the screen, so he'd shut up.
Oh gosh.
I'm just kidding.
Anyways, so Montgomery goes to Texas. So now their rotation is Eovaldi, Heaney, Scherzer, and Montgomery. John Gray at the back end. A little bit of a scary place to go in and play, especially in the playoffs. So what do you guys think on that?
Real quick, James, I just lied to your guts. You were on the whole time. I just couldn't take you anymore. Okay, so go ahead.
I was like, I thought I sound fine.
First and foremost, kind of like throw the Rangers out of it. I'm just excited to see that stadium, in a playoff format with it actually being filled up. Last time we saw that stadium,
fans.
yeah. Last time we saw that stadium in a playoff format, obviously it was during COVID, limited capacity and all that kind of stuff. I'm just
without the Texas Rangers.
Yeah, without even the Texas Rangers, exactly. So I'm just looking forward to seeing that stadium rocking for a whole postseason.
That stadium's huge.
It's massive.
That seems nice.
But no, I like, and I'm biased. I always love a lefty in a rotation, so
oh yeah,
that'll help them a lot. Because I'm trying to think, it's so now. Okay, now with the trades, it's Scherzer,
Heaney, Eovaldi.
Heaney. I thought they had another lefty.
John Gray, Dane Dunning.
Sorry, I forgot my mic's right here. Yeah, I forgot they had
DeGrom
Heaney.
coming next year.
Yeah.
Do they move Heaney to the bullpen, or do they move John Gray to the bullpen?
Honestly, I'd
I say
put
Gray.
Heaney. I feel like he fits more in a bullpen role, just
I
with his
agree.
velocity and stuff.
I say
And a
trade.
strikeout.
You said trade him?
To who?
Get a little
Send
bullpen
him to
arm.
the A. I'll take it.
Somewhere. I don't know. He seems like he's batting practice every year.
Not last year with the Dodgers. He was
He can be
pretty
really
solid,
good and
but
really
this
bad.
year he's been pretty rough.
Maybe he goes back to the Dodgers.
I mean, I would say the way Dodgers are going, just
Could be. I don't know.
bring him back home.
But
why not?
yeah, I think that's all the trades that have happened.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out what other dominoes there are to fall, because I'm sure there's guys that we haven't talked about that are being marketed by teams that we don't know about. So one guy I'm looking at about potentially being traded is Mitch Keller from the Pirates. I think he could give them a good return, especially with the year he's had so far. And I think he'd be a good fit on any other team, especially with the Pirates being as bad as they have been this year, aside from the month of April. So that's kind of my sleeper pick of someone who could be on the move. To where, I don't know. But yeah, what you guys got?
I'm trying to go through my brain. Like, the guy that just keeps coming back is Goldschmidt, of course.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times
Big name.
GMs or something will say, "Hey, this guy's off the table," but that's a marketing ploy to like try to get better prospects. Sometimes it's not, but I feel like with certain guys, and yeah, like you said, Jack Flaherty I would think he would be on the move.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of anybody because
TA's another one.
TA, I think he's moved. I can't believe the Cubs aren't trading Bellinger. Like, EA's having a great year. I'm not saying that, but like, what's the chances of them re-signing him?
I think they're pretty high because both him and Stroman have said they love playing in Chicago.
In Chicago.
At Wrigley. So.
And the Ivy.
I don't know. I think with the Cubs, it's just how hot they've been and how close they are to being in contention for at least a wild card spot. If you sell right now, what does that say to you? If you sell right now, you're quitting. Like, it's not like a throw the white flag. It's you're quitting. You're giving up on your team. So that's where I think they are. And if they stay, they have a better chance to resign.
Because I was hoping the Braves would go after him or Happ.
Gosh, I love Ian Happ. I've wanted Happ for the past 3 years.
Same, especially when Ozzie was hurt last year.
Yeah.
My thing about Bellinger is you got to think maybe the front office for the Cubs. What if Belly is just having another one of those years, those unicorn years, and he goes back to being the Belly the past 2 to 3 years the next year? That might be a question. That has to be a question in their head of, is this a fluke season again, or has he really found it again? Is he just becoming more comfortable now because he's not in LA? And because if you trade him now, maybe it might be the highest trade market you'll ever get out of him if he goes back to being that same person that he was a couple years ago. Now, I love Bellinger. I've loved him ever since the time he came up. I've loved his swing since day one and stuff. So
I still stand by that real quick. I think he's just healthy now, man. I don't think he's been healthy the past 2-3 years.
I agree with that. So
yeah,
he's liking the atmosphere.
What?
He's not playing it. He's not playing in Colorado. Yeah, he's not playing in Colorado.
Atmosphere.
He likes the wind.
Los Angeles, the smog.
Wrigley over LA.
He likes the wind.
Anyways, yeah, he just loves playing in downtown with a bunch of.
Bunch of what?
Anyways,
I was actually genuinely I was gonna say with a bunch of whites because it was north side.
Oh man, I will say
y'all asked. Okay,
I will say as a guy who went to Wrigley a couple months ago, it is
special,
a very special place, and I get as much as I still think Dansby's a cheater, and I hate him, and he betrayed the Atlanta Braves. I kind of get it a little bit as to why you would want to go play.
You married Mallory Pugh. You have your grandfather passed away, and Cubs was his favorite team. See what you.
It wasn't his favorite team. It was his second favorite team because it was the only team that they could watch. was the only team that was playing day games.
Okay,
'cause they didn't have lights at
that point's irrelevant. Screw you, Grandpa. Mallory Pugh.
That's fair. Valid.
Sign me up.
Anyways.
I might even go to Southside Chicago.
No chance.
Anyways, but all that to say, I do get it. I get the appeal to Wrigley. Wrigley's an awesome place. The fans are awesome. When I went, I was talking to a guy who lives like right down the street from the stadium, and he said they'll sell out Wednesday afternoon games every time just because people want to come. And so it's a cool atmosphere to be at, but at least at that point in the season, they were not winning a lot of games. They are now, so I guess I get it for Dansby. But
it's even the aura, like, because I never, but like the aura of the state, like you can almost feel the history of that stadium, dude. Like, it sounds stupid, but it's crazy.
No,
and the location is perfect, man. It's like literally, like it's almost like you dropped a stadium in the middle of, north side of Chicago.
Right in the heart of it.
Which going to Detroit, it's kind of the same, but it's just, I mean, and the Detroit doesn't have the history that Wrigley and the Ivy and all that stuff has.
Yeah, for sure. But
so, okay, realistically though, who do you think they get if they're buying?
Like if they go for a bat or an arm?
Because
they're going to go for a trainer, James. Yes, they're going to buy a bat or
Did you see that pitch from Alzolay?
This freaking guy.
I've completely blocked out James.
I'm saying, like, they can't freaking get. They probably can't get both. I mean, guess they could.
I think they could get smaller deals, but not. I don't think they can make a big splash on
a small market team.
Yeah, I think
I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about like everybody.
Yeah, I think they go for a first baseman. I think they need help at first. I think they need help at the corners, honestly, first and third base. Maybe. I mean, Young Gomes has done a pretty good job behind the plate this year, but maybe
Contreras back.
That's where I was headed. Maybe get Contreras back. I don't think
with
so,
you,
but maybe.
Never
Who
know.
knows? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's a very young team too. Like a lot of their guys are like in their first few years in the league, so I mean I could see them going out and just getting a veteran.
That Morel kid's having a dang good year too. So.
Yeah, Morel, and he's only been in the league 2, maybe 3 years, right? So
Bednar,
I think if they could go
to the
get
Cubs. Bednar to the Cubs.
Bednar to the Cubs.
I like that.
All right, we'll see.
That's
You're
my
one for
better.
one.
Y'all didn't answer me. Did y'all see that pitch from Alzolay? I think that's how you pronounce it.
I did.
Yeah, that changeup or whatever. It had to be a changeup.
No,
Is he their
a
closer?
two-seam fastball.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, he is. He is right now.
Yeah, he's their closer.
He is their closer.
That pitch. Listen, if you could give me
Was nasty.
100 tries, and I'm not touching that. That was my.
Nope.
Throw me whatever you want. Throw me a Kershaw curveball from the right side. Throw me a slider. Yeah, I'm going deep. But if a right-hander has a changeup, dude, I still have nightmares. I still have the night sweats thinking about right-hand changeups.
Kill, that was actually a fastball at 97.
There's no chance. I'm going to watch it again.
There's no way.
Yeah, it wasn't a changeup. It was a
There was
fastball.
no way.
If that was a fastball, that kid's a Hall of Famer.
It was. Go back and look
No
at
way
it.
that was
I mean, I'm not saying it wasn't, but like,
I'll
or
pull
check
it
that
up.
ball. For goodness gracious. That thing's got a...
freaking rosin.
All right, take it away, Thomas. Be professional.
All right, here we go. So I wanted to kind of piggyback on the trades that have happened, what might happen soon, kind of tie in the fantasy aspect, not do as much of a waiver wire this week, but maybe do whose value has gone up for fantasy, being on a new team, and who are some guys you guys are going to be looking to trade for. I know we've been trying to trade this whole past week, but who are guys you're going after for each your specific league's trade deadline?
Yeah, I'll tell you. First of all, it was a sinker. Oh my gosh.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, fastball.
No,
You're right, Casey. Though it was.
James, that is a fastball.
Yeah.
A sinker is a
Sinker,
fastball.
cutter,
No, a fastball is a fastball.
sinker,
A sinker
cutter.
is a sinker.
No, a sinker, cutter, 4-seam, 2-seam are all fastballs.
That's a cut fastball.
God, how did you make it past third grade? I'm
graduated.
going after.
Move the
Let me
fourth.
think real quick. I'm going after Austin Riley, Carlos Rodon, and Luis Castillo. That's 3 guys I'm going after.
Send it, baby. I thought you already gave me a deadline.
Oh, you're dead to
Over,
me.
see
Yeah.
what happens.
Oh man.
As soon as
You'll come.
no chance.
You will come
Listen,
crawling
I'm
back. I know it.
actually a man of my word. As soon as we get this post pod
Look, dude,
FaceTime,
not
you're
my
blocked.
fault. You get 25 players and you had 26. That's you
Just the
picked.
way it
That's not my fault.
Shut up,
Anyways.
Thomas.
It's just the way it is.
Anyways, a guy I picked up
Can't
recently
choose-
from
you can't
James.
choose a team to root for. Don't talk to me.
Whatever. Guy I picked up recently
love you,
from
boy.
James. I know you do. Whatever.
I don't
Jordan Montgomery, I think his value goes up
Yeah, dude, that was
exponentially
Yeah.
being on, especially with the Rangers, with how
50%.
powerful their offense is. He was such a good pickup for me because he could have
that
gone
pitching
anywhere,
staff.
but him going to Texas is fantastic for fantasy.
And that pitching staff.
Let's back
it's
up.
Maddox. He was with the Cardinals for years. I think. I mean, because even John Gray, also he's trash. He's having a good year. Like their pitching, especially past like month or two, has been lights out. So they're figuring it out.
Hey,
Yeah.
I've always liked John Gray getting out of Colorado. I even drafted him last year on fantasy.
too.
I mean, I had him for a while. He just wasn't turning out how he should have.
I'm pretty sure James is the only one
He has
that's
those
like,
up and
yeah,
downs.
I don't like it.
Yeah, trade Christian Walker. Yeah.
He has ups and downs.
Ebbs and
That's all I'm
flows.
saying. That's it.
I think.
But hang on.
What you got?
Back to the Jordan Montgomery. For the fans out there, I gave Thomas Jordan Montgomery before he traded. Now
He gave Thomas the
I also
world.
gave him- I gave Thomas Shohei Ohtani. His next
The
start, he
pitcher.
threw a
The
complete
pitcher
game,
Shohei
and
Ohtani,
then-
not hitter.
Yeah, the pitcher Shohei. So he threw a complete game, and I believe next
Yeah.
game.
Oh,
he
that's
like
another
two
thing.
games,
Real
so-
quick, we had a trade that we pretty much was going through, and he goes and he
It
crawls
was
back to
not.
Thomas.
And I also gave him
I'm done.
Sandy, and then his next start he also threw a complete game. Whatever. So Thomas loaded up his team.
And Luis Robert. Robert.
I helped him
Don't
out.
forget him.
Yeah,
For
yeah, I know.
Garrett Cole and Camille Duvall. So,
Who just blew a save, but he still got the win.
You're
so
welcome.
King has Willas. Gaga.
anyways, yeah, I think another guy that his value has gone up a little bit is Scherzer. I mean, Scherzer's always Scherzer, but him having a team with run support is also going to add a little bit of value for him. Who else we got? I think Robertson going to Miami could up his value because he's going to be in more save situations. Obviously, just because they're going to win more games than the Mets were this year. So, yeah, those are the guys I like as far as potential trade prospects, especially with added value
hasn't really
after
been
their
a-
trades.
I was there hasn't really been a big splash yet,
Yeah.
but I think there will come closer to the deadline.
Yeah,
Where it would affect fantasy
nothing's going to beat
purposes.
last year, but
Contenders.
Yeah.
Oh, last year.
I mean, even Giolito going to a team that is trying to win adds value to
That
him
was
because
shocking.
I think they're going to bolster their lineup even more before the deadline. So I
Ooh.
think Giolito's going to get a lot more run support than he did with Chicago.
Oh
dude,
yeah.
speaking of the Angels, dude,
Absolutely.
Mickey Moniak, I'll never forget. I was watching the draft in like 2016, and I was like, "Angels, y'all are idiots. Why would you draft this kid first overall?" Dude's a dog now.
He's been
He's
going
pretty good.
off.
I was in high school, so give me a break. I didn't know what life was.
What life?
I think we need to look at the Twins. I honestly don't think we've really given a whole lot of insight into the Twins, just because none of us really care about the AL Central. Honestly,
I watched.
Central.
they're just not really. I mean, all those teams are really just not great ball clubs to watch. But I think the AL Central, especially with the Twins, that pitching rotation, it's so lethal. If they could add just a few bats, I think they could really make a
Yeah,
pretty good run. So
which
I
they're
think,
leading the division right now, aren't they?
yeah. Now
They're
Let me
in
check.
first. I mean, only half game.
they've
but
lost
yeah.
like their last 3 or something, but
their last
five is five.
Jeez.
Wow.
4
They've
and
lost
6
their
in the
last
last 10.
5.
Yeah. So
They've lost their last 5 and still
I
in
think
first.
they really need an impact bat. I mean, Byron
Yeah.
Buxton is good,
Mhm.
Correa is good and stuff, but I mean, they're both very. I don't know. So do y'all have any? I've been trying to think of somebody that they could go out and get, and nobody really comes to my mind. But
I mean, I want to agree with you there, Casey, but looking at the stats, Byron Buxton is batting 207. and Carlos Correa is batting
He's hurt.
228. So it's the guys that you're expecting to bat that aren't. So I think if those guys would start going, they would start winning more ball games. Who is it? Kirilloff has been going off, but he just went to the IL. So I don't know who they could go out and get, because right now their lineup is just not looking great.
Their lineup is.
So I mean, it's really because like you said, they've got a great rotation with Joe Ryan, Sonny Gray. Joe Ryan's striking out 10 guys a game right now, but has no run support and then is giving up too many runs. So they just aren't winning games because of it. So
They just got swept by the Royals.
Yeah. So
Yeah, Bobby Witt Jr. dog.
Bobby Witt Jr. is a dog.
Oh my gosh!
But yeah, I don't know who they could bring in that would make that much of a difference. So
Maybe Eloy Jimenez.
could be
Maybe.
Robert. Is Robert on the block, or was he the one that they said
No,
they're
he's
keeping?
he's staying.
No, they're keeping.
Keeping him.
They're gonna build around him and Cease.
Yeah.
Which
I
is,
could
Yeah.
see Eloy.
They're known to have like that. They're
Cheap.
known to have. He won't be cheap. They're known to have.
well, just because the White Sox sell. Go for it.
They're known to have. Jeez.
Just
I'm
end
sorry,
the podcast so
James.
James can
You
quit
make
ruining our
some of the
reputation.
Craziest comments. Anyways,
I'm helping it. Kevin.
Eloy Jimenez. The Twins are known for like that big bopper. You know, I mean, when I think of Nelson Cruz and stuff for the past few years, you know, that big
Joe
beat
Mauer.
and stuff.
1 year,
Joe
yeah.
Trevor
Mauer.
Plouffe.
Yeah. Shout out Trevor Plouffe,
Shut
friend
up,
of the
Plouffe.
show, friend of the program. You know.
Hopefully, one day.
But
Maybe next year.
I do think, not to just piggyback off John Boy all the time, but I do think Plouffe said that Goldschmidt would be a good fit in Minnesota, and I don't disagree with that. So if Goldschmidt's on the block, he could be someone that could make a difference enough that would get the Twins over the hump.
I agree.
It's hard to say that when
What about
they're actually leading the division, but yeah.
I love y'all to death, but I have got to use bathrooms so bad.
That too. All right. Well, in that note, I think it's time to wrap it up. That's all I've got. Anybody got anything else?
James, you're a scumbag, and you'll reap what you sow.
yeah, I'll reap it and sow it in first place.
Listen,
Ooh.
Heavenly
Hey,
rewards,
hey,
buddy.
hey,
I know you haven't read the Bible, but
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yes, I have.
Anyways.
316.
All right. Well, that's all we got. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at the Sunday League Pod, on Twitter
Please.
at Sun League Pod. Subscribe here on YouTube if you're watching. Make sure you follow us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Deezer, Spotify. Did I say Amazon? I don't even know. But follow us wherever you are. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Leave us a rating if you like the show. Give us a comment if there's things you want to do better. You know,
Yeah, tell us if you hate us as well.
Tell us if you hate us and tell us why, so we can make it
And I'm
better.
not, and we're not going
Slide
to
our
change.
Have a conversation.
We have an applicant for our 6th member, but if you want to apply, we will start narrowing it down.
If you can apply, you're probably
You're capable if you can apply. Yeah, all that being said, thanks you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it. We'll be back potentially later this week. If anything
Definitely
crazy
later this
happens.
week.
If not, next Monday
Yeah.
again.
I'll be in the studio.
Love you.
Love you. Bye.
That's my line.